Hello, I'm your host, Leonard Duncan. Welcome to a new episode of ATV-TALK and Motorsports Podcast. Please join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you interviews with industry professionals, live events, live news about the motorsports industry in every episode. Enjoy the show. Joel Hetrick, welcome to ATV-TALK. How are you, man?
I'm good. Happy to be here. How you doing?
Oh, thank you so much. We need to thank Elka Suspension because they kind of set this up for us. And they're one of my sponsors. They're one of your sponsors. And, thanks to the shout out to those guys for what a great job they're doing producing some outstanding product for our industry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They got top tier products, quality wise and looks wise. I mean, I got a set of Elkas on my truck actually too, and rides so much better than what I had on there. And then obviously we know my suspension, the Elkas on my quad. They're hard to beat right now. So I think all in all, man, I just they've been my program for a long time, and I thank those guys a lot for that.
I think right now there's not an industry that they're not leading.
Hmm.
So, I mean, that kind of says it all, right?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, the guys are driving and riding and doing that work, but as far as them being able to do what they do best, like for me in my shoes, the shocks and everything makes the bike as a whole, a package, but um the shocks are one of the main components to going fast on any type of racing. So it's good to be with one of the best, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is. It is. Speaking of shocks, um, how much in-depth testing do you guys go do just on suspension?
So like typically Elka and Jay Goebel work side by side, and then Jay and I work at the track together to do the fine tuning from what we get at Elka. And those two or three times we do it throughout the year, it's long days. It's a day or two at a time, and it's long days of changing shocks and revalving and doing springs and just countless laps as well. Like it's really hard to get everything right on my side too, because as the day goes on, you get tired of you're riding all day, so your body gets tired, and you got to really put a stop to when you're not feeling the best, and when the testing starts to maybe stabilize or start to go downhill is a real fine line. And I think I figured that out, and obviously Jay's figured the shock aspect out of like, okay, this works for him here, he likes this. Like my feedback to him's really good, I think, and he understands me. We've worked together for probably 15 years now, and I think feedback to the person that's doing your shocks is a big deal. And when we're at the track, I feel like we really talk pretty in depth and pretty good, and he understands me, and we can just implement that into the shock that day, and it turns out to be really good every single time we're together.
Well, it seems to be working really well. You know, I look back a little bit on your history, and believe me, I've done more homework for this one episode than I normally do for everything.
That's cool.
Well, looking back at some of your history, and I wanted to make sure that I understood you haven't just been racing ATVs as an adult. You started racing ATVs as a young child and
Mhm.
moved your way through the ranks. And you've raced with some of the guys that are professionals with you now
Yeah.
as children.
Yeah.
Um, when you were growing up, did you have any idea that you were going to become a professional and be a champion?
Mm. I think growing up, I obviously that was my goal, was to be a pro, and I was always a decent racer, and I hung out with a lot of the top guys, and my parents owned a race team, so that helped people to know me a little bit better. And I wouldn't talk to anyone because I was so shy, but I still would want to talk to them pros like Jeremiah, John Natale. Matt White was one of my parents' riders for a long time, and he rode to the races with us when I was probably 8 to 10 years old. So I thought that was really neat to be with a pro. And I don't know, it just that's what I wanted to be. So that's I think I was was there along the sides of these guys that I looked up to, and obviously what I wanted to do was be one of them. So, but being a champion, that never really crossed my mind. I was just having fun riding four wheelers at that time.
And when do you think the championship light clicked on?
Uh, as far as like pro championship, I would say it probably kicked on late into my pro career. Honestly, it's weird to say that because I don't think I was really as motivated or as driven the first couple of years of my pro racing as I should have been, or as these guys are now. Like the training aspect, the dieting, I just threw that out the window and hoped that my talent would take me to the top, and it would not do that. And I was young, like everybody is, so there's probably things that I could have done differently to make myself a better racer, but I wasn't doing that at the time. So I would say, shoot, probably 2014. Well, funny story. 2014, we were on vacation. We're at an all-inclusive resort. We're having a good time, and I post a picture. Uh, I must have had obviously a couple cocktails and probably a bunch of food, and I post a picture, and I had like a little gut. And Jeffrey Rastrelli commented and said, "Wow, you got a gut on you." And like as soon as I realized that, man, I'm not in good shape. I went home that winter or that trip and I stopped doing, I stopped having fun on the weekends, drinking a couple drinks or whatever I was doing, eating bad food. Majority was food. I wasn't a bad drinker or nothing. Um, but I stopped doing all that and I got like my dieting right. And then 2015, I came out 25 pounds lighter. And I think like that right then, 2014 to 15, me getting out of all the BS that I was in and like not really training as hard as I should have, then I realized like, wow, I can ride 25 minutes this hard. I can probably win. And then we get to the first race and I'm like, I'm way better now. I'm contending at the end of the motos to where I wasn't before. Um, and I think after that, like first round or two in, I believe that I could probably win races and then after that I think it just dwindled down to like, okay, I can win all the races. I can try to win all the races and win a championship, like, but it really was, my first year pro, rookie year, I won a couple races, got fifth overall, was really good. Like not taking anything away from that. Um, but like I said, I just tried to ride on talent, and I was really talented, but I needed to get everything in order to win races and be able to last against the guys like John Natale and Chad and Creamer at the time and the guys that were still in the class. Like they're not slouching. They know what to do to win, and I just didn't know that yet.
Well, that's awesome that you open up like that and talk freely about it, because there's so many people that would never admit that they weren't doing it correctly.
Yeah, it is hard. It's hard for me to say that, but now looking back, like I didn't do nothing bad, but I just didn't do nothing good to help myself be a better racer. So
Well,
now I know what it takes to not just win, but to mentally be successful in racing and physically obviously know what it takes to do that. So it's just a lot different in growing up, being 10 years older than when I was 22 doing it. It's like it's a big change of life for me has happened since then. So I feel obviously a lot better now.
do you think it's self-sacrifice or dedication?
I think it's just dedication. Like there's nothing I'm sacrificing to be, you know, a better fitness level, to eat healthier. Like that's all stuff I would now in this age that I would want to do to just be a better person all around to be able to go to the doctor, get blood work and be like, man, you're doing really good. That's what I want to hear. Like it's just crazy. Back 10 years ago, I would eat McDonald's and dip my French fries in mayonnaise, but I probably am not going to do that right now.
I hope not. I
Yeah.
hope I hope you stay away from McDonald's also.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think I've had McDonald's since then probably, but I'll have an ice cream sundae every once in a while. I love chocolate. So I will certainly, if I had a huge day of training and riding and I burned 6,000 calories, you'll probably catch me having a milkshake. and I'm fine with that. But it's not as frequent as it used to be.
Well, let's talk family just for a bit, if you don't mind.
Hmm.
Um, you have three children,
Yep.
and I see pictures. Your wife does an amazing job posting pictures of your guys' family. How do you feel about them participating in the ATV sport and following in your footsteps?
I think that would just be the coolest thing ever. If my boys wanted to race and my daughter, if she wanted to race, um, that would obviously just I would love that. I went racing with my dad for the longest time, and he never missed one of my races until just recently, with work and just things that are kind of out of his control. He had to miss a couple races, and he normally doesn't. But growing up racing with my mom and dad, that's something that like I'll always cherish, and I hope that I can take my kids racing as I do now. I take them racing, but I race. I would love to take them racing and watch them race and have fun and also learn, that racing's not all about winning, and sometimes you're going to lose, and life's not always fair. Like I really want them to learn that aspect of life too. And I think that I really hope they want to race, because if they don't want to race, I hope they want to be a professional golfer or something to make millions of dollars. But it's either one. I would want to race because it's more fun to me. But
Well, I mean, you love it, and that's where it is. So, if we take you and just categorize you with the professional athletes in the last 20 years or so, you talk about Michael Jordan, you talk about Tiger Woods, you're talking about Tom Brady. These are some of the greatest athletes in mainstream media. And the things that they're winning races, they're winning championships, they're doing things to rise above the bar. Do you ever consider yourself in that circle of athletics?
like personally, to me, no. I don't categorize myself with them guys just because eh, they're a different. To me, they're just a way different game, obviously to them, but just a whole different aspect of being a champion. Like their championships is as a team, and obviously we have a team, but it's more of like a one person, one man band on that full wheeler. Like I can't pass it to the next guy and have him finish the race. But I have all the utmost respect for those guys, but I've never thought of it, myself with them. Maybe it's like off-road racing. If there was a circle of those guys like Ricky Carmichael, Tomac, and Gary Denton, and you put all those type of guys, like I would hope that myself was in there when I'm done racing. Yeah.
Well, you got motorsports guys like Lewis Hamilton and Mark
Yeah.
Marquez and Valentino Rossi. These guys are in the highest peak of racing, and
Hmm.
you've accomplished what they have, and done better than some of them in your own world.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the comparison for the level of athlete, I think, is there.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like to say it is for sure. I think as an athlete, like I'm doing, what any dirt bike guy would be doing, probably what any F1 or Superbike or any of those guys training wise, excuse me, like I'm probably putting in the same hours, if not more, than a lot of guys. And obviously, in my sport, it's paying off. I'm winning the races, and um, I'm just for myself. I'm adding to my record books that I one day can you know look at and be like, holy crap, I did that, or I show my kids that, and they're like, or they're here, so they're witnessing it. But at 4 and 6 years old, like they don't really understand. So maybe one day they'll understand and they'll be like, oh, I was there for you to do all that, and I'll get to tell them, yeah, you were there. So
That
that like to me anymore, my racing, like my when I'm done racing at the track, end of the day, and my son's like, you won, Dad. I watched you race. That's really what I like the most. My daughter, my son, they enjoy watching the race. They love watching me win the races, of course, and that makes them excited. I give them the trophy sometimes, and they put it in their room, and Like that's to me the coolest thing I could get right now. So if I just keep doing that, I'm happy, they're happy, I can make a living and be with my kids. I'll take it every day.
That's pretty cool stuff. You know, on my morning show on Sunday mornings, I got to have Mike Walsh come on and we talked a little bit about Phoenix racing. And I asked him the same question I'm going to ask you. We've been involved in this series in racing for a long time, and we've seen levels of teams come through ATV racing, and some were really good, some didn't do so good. You know, others were winners for a long period of time. What do you think separates Phoenix from everyone else in the industry right now?
Um, I think just the R&D that we can do, and we have a really good group of guys at the shop. Lonnie in the engine department. We have Twisted Development doing the tuning on our machines, which if you know him, he's top tier tuner. Um, Jay Goebel, Impact Solutions, and obviously Elka Suspension, and then Mike's Walsh Racecraft Products. Great tire combination, CST tires. Like you add all that together, and then you got Dasa Motor right down the street from Phoenix here, and they're developing with Lonnie and making more power than we've ever had. This year in particular, like our bikes are rocket ship. FMF, you know, got us a new exhaust, new silencer, head pipe, and I think with Phoenix we're able to open up our opportunities to these companies like FMF. FMF's like a major dirt bike company, right? Like they're not just a dirt bike company, but they're more so with the dirt bike side, and they sponsor our Phoenix Honda dirt bikes and all the quads except I think two of them don't run FMF, but me and Grayson do, and I think that just being on the Phoenix team, he's got so many connections to different people like Twisted, and that right there alone was a major upgrade in our program for tuning aspect and power and rideability. Um, you know, launch control or the whole shot, yeah, launch control. Like there's so many things with him in particular that has like raised the bar on our machine and just opened up more opportunities with the power we can get just with him alone, and then you go with the suspension, like we were talking earlier before the show, like my quad's working exceptionally good, and I think that's a lot to say about the Elka suspension and my progress with Jay Goebel and Impact Solutions to get it there. And again, like having the availability to get him to come test. A lot of, maybe some teams don't have that, the funding to do that for Twisted or the funding to do it for with Jay. Like there's a lot of money to be spent in these departments. And I think that, where I'm at allows me to do that with these people. And I don't think a lot of people do that. Not saying people don't have money, people have money, but maybe it's not just the money sometimes. Maybe it's the connections between the people that we have that other people don't. So we're in a really good position. David Eller has got us in a really good position with the Phoenix Racing Yamaha team, and really without him, um, it would be a lot different for me if I was on a different team. I feel like, but maybe I could still do really well. But where I'm at right now, like we're unbeaten, with what we have. So I feel like that's obviously says good things about what he's got going on there.
Not to ask questions about someone else that rides on the same team, but in a
Mm-hmm.
different series. It seems that Bryson Neal's package is on par to yours because he's really dominant in the GNCC as well. It's
Yeah.
got something to do with that business program that you guys are laying out.
Yeah, I mean, Bryson's an absolute animal as well on the quad. Um, but if you ask him too, like his program has went up tenfold because of what we've got recently, and he's got the same as me. He's got the twisted development tuning. He's got the new engine package. He's got the tires, the shocks, Jay Goebel. Um, and when you get all that and you get a really talented rider like Bryson and myself and the other guys on team, John Glad and Grayson, like you're gonna see good finishes. And with me and Bryson, um, he's won the last three of his championships, and I won the last three of mine. And to go at the end of the year, we get to go to the Yamaha Celebrations event, and it's just so cool that we're both there, on the same team, and we get, obviously all get to sit together. But it's just very, very rewarding to go there with your teammate, that is the best of the best at his sport, and I have nothing to like compete with him about. So like I don't go there and feel any type of way with him. I feel like we just kicked ass and we get to come to this sweet event together for Phoenix Racing. Like that is really cool, and I'm sure he's happy to be a part of that too.
Oh, I bet. I bet. So I want to ask you some off the cuff questions here.
Okay.
What's your biggest fear?
What's my biggest fear? Uh I don't even I mean there's just like anything, or like what do you mean? Just
Just what do you fear the most? And don't say losing.
no, that's not it. Really anymore, just obviously everybody fears crashing, so you just like you I fear the worst, like when I'm going as fast as I'm going. um like when I fear hitting the ground as fast as I'm going on a hard pack track. That's a sketchy scenario. I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
That's
I wouldn't do that either.
no, no. That's
And
probably the thing I would fear the most on the machine, like 100%.
do you watch a lot of your videos that are made and posted of your riding?
Yeah, absolutely. I probably watch all of them 10 times.
What do you, so we're watching and I'm talking to other industry professionals, other racers, and we've watched the same video and we see you get out of shape where 80% of the guys that are riding in the class with you, if they
Mhm.
were in that position, they're on their noodle and you ride it out like it never even happened. Is this something to do with just the way you've adapted to the Yamaha or the hours spent riding? I mean, what do you contribute that to?
I would say the hours spent riding the machine on like all different types of terrain. Like not just the motocross track, but like I ride a lot of like turn tracks and really rough stuff that would be maybe more difficult for other people because they're not as adapted to the quad. Like you said, I feel like I'm really in tune with what's going to happen on the machine next. If like I do hit a bad hole and I'm getting swapped out, like I'm not going to panic until there's no time to panic because I'm going to try to get out of it. Like I'm going to try to maneuver myself in a way on the machine to not let it go any further than what it's already done, if that makes sense.
And that's a just a trained reflex from spending so much time on the machine, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. That's all it can be because I'm 140. I mean, I just weighed myself 145 pounds right now, so it's not like I'm muscling the quad down. I'm just flowing with it as it's doing its thing, and if it does get out of shape, like I obviously know where to put my weight, and my weight contributes to a lot of saving myself from eating crap. Um, but it's really just about manipulating the quad while you're getting out of shape, I think.
You brought up a great question that I've been asked, because I've done a little bit of work with some riders on the Yamaha, and one of the problems we had was traction. And you being 145 pounds, I'm dealing with riders that were larger by
Hmm.
20 to 30 pounds, and we were having traction issues. What are some of the things that we could do to adapt our machine to get better traction?
Like you don't have great traction, like great forward bite
Yeah,
drive.
the straight ahead drive isn't isn't strong enough or isn't good enough. We're getting too much wheel spin.
So like if I'm getting too much wheel spin, obviously I'm gonna try to go down in pressure as much as I can until the tire folds or until the tire's like sucked up to the wheel basically when I'm landing. And you can only go so far with that. But then like Jim Hardy, he's part of the crew at Phoenix, and he does a lot of tire grooves for me. So we cut the tires depending on how the track is. Like if it's really hard packed, dry slick, like we'll have the tires grooved. Even for the tracks that are sandy, like we grooved at Deckers, and the forward drive with a cut through the tire like he does is it's almost night and day difference sometimes for traction. Like I had so much traction at Etchicani, I was like, dude, I can't come out of the turn and go straight because the bike's just I'm wheeling everywhere. So, we obviously went the other way, and instead of putting new tread on for the motos, I reversed the tire to have the sharp edge the wrong way. I didn't want the sharp edge. And so we did it in that way so I could lighten up the bike because it just was so tight everywhere. And I didn't want to change, I don't normally like to narrow the quad up at all. So we're trying to do it all with either suspension, which I didn't mention yet, or air pressure in the groove. But suspension.
Are you looking for the best suspension technology for your sport ATV? Look no further than Elka Suspension, the industry leader in sport ATV suspension technology. With championship wins in prestigious events such as the Dakar Rally, Score, Best in the Desert, ATV MX, Cross Country, and Works, Elka Suspension has established itself as the go-to choice for athletes and enthusiasts alike. But they don't just stop at ATVs. They're constantly expanding into new markets, including UTVs, trucks, SUVs, pit bikes, snowmobiles, and more. Their commitment to innovation and quality means they're always looking to improve and adapt so you can enjoy a smooth ride wherever you go. Want to learn more about what Elka Suspension can do for you? Visit their website at elkasuspension.com or give them a call at 450-655-4855. They will always be happy to answer your questions and help you find the perfect suspension solution for your needs.
If my bike's not like transferring really good, or the bike's a little stiff that day, because I'm trying to maybe go long on the track, or like I'm over jumping stuff, and it needs to have a little bit more hard, like bottom out poundage, um like that day is going to be hard for traction for me if I'm trying to tune the bike for the track, a hard pack track where I'm over jumping plus it's hard pack. Like I'm going to be in the middle of wanting to soften the bike up, but I can't. So I'm trying to do it with air pressure and tire groove. So if you can get away with doing all three same day, like you'll have traction no matter what. But sometimes you can't always get away with doing all.
Well, it looks to me like you've been adapting pretty well to all of those changes and making some of the right choices because your bike seems to be working because you're putting it out front and not having any issues.
Yeah, it's working for sure. I have no complaints with it right now. Like I got it on one of the slowest tunes actually. We got back from last race, and the engine builder Lonnie, he likes to dyno the motors after the races too. So he throws it on and he's like, "Man, it was down like 3 horsepower." He's like, "Until I switched your map to the fast map, and then it's back up to peak horsepower." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't like riding it when it's like too fast, dude. I like to ride it when it's more rideable, like." And in my tune, every tune I have is developed around how I like to ride, So um, I can go to that number one tune and gain my 3 horsepower back, but it's a real aggressive map. Once you get to wide open throttle, that thing's cooking, and sometimes that's not always how I like to ride it.
How does it make your physical? I know you're in great shape, but if you're on that aggressive map, what does that do to you at the end of the moto? More so at the end of the second moto.
Yeah, you would be your first moto, you'd be fine. You could ride it. You'd feel fatigue. But the second moto, it would get to you just because it wants to really, launch out of the turns and pull harder than my other map. Like I've just adapted to what I've been riding, and sometimes when I get into a position where like this is what I like, it's comfortable. Maybe it's not the fastest thing that day that I could have been riding, but if I need more, I have it. And if I almost switched it to Echikani just to try it, but I qualified like really good, like a second and a half over everybody, and I was like, I don't. I think the way the bike's working with that power right now, I'm gonna leave it with that.
Do you guys have like a group meeting to make these decisions, or is it all you telling the mechanic what you want?
Yeah, Gary and I have a really good relationship, and Jim. And if we go back to the trailer, like that's the three that are talking, me, Jim, and Gary. But they're just along with whatever, I got. So if I'm like, hey man, I need to lower pressure, I need to heighten the bike up a little bit. They're there for me, so they'll just do whatever. And obviously I ask for some guidance sometimes, like what do you think? And sometimes they're like, maybe you don't do that, or sometimes they're like, I really don't know. So I don't want to ride that on them either, like they can't see the whole track where they're at sometimes, and they're not riding the machine. So I think for myself, I just do it just for self keeping, like okay, they think it's good too, so let's try that.
Well, sometimes you got to have those guys in your corner that are there, if they think you're making a mistake, hey, Joel, I don't know if that's the best choice, but
Yeah, yeah,
you're
that's
on the machine. So,
Yeah,
uh,
that's them too. Like they will definitely tell me if they're like, that's not what you should do. A lot of the times when I'm going to the gate, I'll pick a gate that I love. I think it's great, but I'll always ask Gary. I'm like, what do you think? And he's like, yeah, I like it. And as soon as he says that, I'm like, all right, that's where we're going.
that
And it's one of them things where like I trust his opinion too. If he likes where I like, that's where we're going.
and you guys have built a bond with one another that
Yep.
allows you to go there and do those kind of things and
Oh
feel
yeah.
that's really cool. I mean, I have got to experience that with one of my riders, and it's a special thing,
Yeah,
really.
it is. It's a good feeling to have that.
Yes, it is. Um, let's talk a little bit of the Quad Cross of Nations. You have got to go and experience multiple different countries in different environments. Um, what do you think the effect of the Quad Cross of Nations has on ATV racing as a whole?
It's it's nothing but good, man. It's when we go there, the attendance is great. There's a lot of racers. There's a lot of fans usually. Um, Depending on the particular area that we go to, like Italy's always really populated with fans, and they really enjoy the racing. And it seems to be doing really good over there for the European championships that they have going on. So every time we go, I think we gain more fans, more viewership to our series, to our riders. Um, you know, Bryce being the way he is, he's really outspoken and loud, and a lot of people like that. And I think that brings some attention to the sport. And then obviously me winning the races and winning the championships right now, people enjoy talking to me. And Brandon was over there this year, and I think being the new kid and the new fast guy coming in, everybody really thought it was cool and liked to talk to him as well. So it brought a lot of attention to all three of us in particular throughout the years, and Chad as well, and obviously to ATV motocross. I think you'll see sometimes you'll see some foreign comments. And you'll go to their page and it's a European quad cross racer, or it's a European, a racer that maybe got to know us from quad crossing nations. And I think um, like I was talking to David Eller today actually, and he wants to have a couple guys go to Pondezvous, and I think his son's going to be one of them. And he was talking about, you get to go to quad cross. These guys go to ISDE. He was talking about some other races out of the country, and he's like, these guys might never get to race out of the country, so I think they're gonna try to do Pondezvous, and we're gonna get it all worked out to get them there. So, um, it obviously it has a big effect on teams too. Like for their accolades that they hold, it has a lot of a pull on sponsors. Like, oh, we race out of the country every year, and then viewership and riders that might want to come over to race our series because they saw all of us race and they want to come see it some more. Like I think it's good for sure.
Rendezvous is something special.
Yeah, it is. They obviously asked me to go. Um, they asked me to go this year, and I'm hoping to go to quad cross, obviously, if selected. And I just was like, I'm not going to Pondezvous. I really, Bryson Neal, I would want to go, me, Bryson, and Grayson, the three Phoenix racing guys. I would love to take all three of us and do it. But Bryson, he's having a baby soon, and I don't think he's going to be able to go this year. But Grayson, he still wants to go, and I think he's going to take maybe John Glauda and someone else if they go. And I was like, you guys will do really good. But I'll go next time. I'll go with Bryson and Grayson. And I think that we could have a really good shot of winning and having a good time.
It's an experience that I think more people should go to, just like
Oh,
Quad Cross of Nations. I wish that more riders could go, but I understand the
yeah,
format. It's just not going to happen.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
sometimes I do feel the same way. Like I wish that every rider in the pro class could experience that race at least once because it's really special. The first time obviously is just like holy cow, this is really cool to be there. Really serious. You feel like there's a little bit more pressure because we just shipped our quads across the pond to get here, and there's a lot of stuff riding on this race. So you feel like it's very important, and you're racing for your country, and like I think that I wish that everybody could experience that, but obviously, they pick the top three guys to go every year, and that's great. I believe you want to go win, you pick your best three guys, but obviously it would be cool for other guys to experience it.
have they ever talked about having the race in the States?
Yeah, I think it's been brought up, but they just the fact of everybody having to come to us, like it probably just wouldn't work. Most of the guys can drive to where we race at. I think Argentina has to go by freight or whatever or ship and us obviously, but I think everybody else can drive. So I think that's where it's at. Like it would be too much for everyone to come, I think.
Yeah, that would be a big bill, wouldn't it?
I wouldn't even want to know. That'd be crazy.
I mean, I'm sure that your guys' expenses for that race are unbelievable.
Yeah.
It seems that container that Baldwin has is going to be used a bunch more times, hopefully.
Yeah, I'd say I don't know what their long-term goal is for you know wins over there, but I think they're six so far. So their Team USA is definitely collecting them.
Well, that's great. Have you guys even talked about it again yet this year?
We have not. No, we haven't talked.
So it's a little too early in the season for that, right?
Yeah, I think usually around July, June, July they start hearing things about it.
Right, right. What did you
But
think?
what's that?
What did you think of the Triple Crown?
I loved it. Obviously I got all three hole shots, so it was great for me, but it was if I didn't get all three hole shots, it could have been a lot different, like that. The race being a little bit shorter, very different. Um, but getting the hole shots was great. The race went by fast, and I enjoyed it. The time in between didn't seem like it was really not enough time or too long. Like it felt like it was just right. You felt good when you went back on the track. I think when we go to Sunset Ridge, the next Triple Crown, it'll be it'll be a little bit different. Maybe the racing's even tighter than Decker's, uh, or maybe not. I can't really say that, but I know Decker's they had some really good racing throughout the pack. Um, but yeah, the tighter tracks like Briarcliff has a Triple Crown last race. That one you get a bad hole shot there, coming through the pack. 14-minute race, you're going to be having to haul the mail if you get a really bad hole shot. So it's going to get interesting for sure, I think, but very, very fun.
So you enjoy the format itself to break up the normal season for you.
Yeah, yeah, it's you get to gain a little bit more points if you're in the position to do that. Like I think I gained 10. And on a no, I didn't. I don't know how many I gained, but it was just a little bit different points wise and racing wise was cool. Fast paced, like I said, it was just different. Like felt good. I was at Deckers when we did the first one, so very comfortable with the track, obviously, and pulling the whole shots. Like I put it on cruise control and just in race to race. But the tracks that I'm not so comfortable with, Sunset Ridge, maybe it's a little bit different for me to pull out or go through the pack. Like could be better racing. You never know.
Well, we're gonna find out, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll find out.
Speaking of Deckers, what did you think when Jason Decker brought up the idea of moving the race forward so that you guys didn't have to race in the rain?
Oh, for me, I was tickled pink. I didn't want to race in the mud at all. I wanted to race dry on that track, and that was it. And just because of being there all winter, like I know the amount of rain that we got um, after the race, it would have made that race day very, very hard, not just for us, but for Jason. Prepping that track when it's wet, he's going to push a lot of his dirt right off the track and just try to go down to dry stuff. And it just would have been a disaster. And it holds water in spots that sometimes can be over, like over the track, So if it would have rained so much, it would have been submerged in spots. It luckily didn't rain that much, but it rained enough that it would have been a disaster for Saturday if we had raced Saturday. But Friday was great. It was honestly too dry. He could have put a little bit more water down, but other than that, like he did a great job. I think everybody enjoyed it. The racing was good. Track was very racy. Uh, real fast track. Obviously, we know that. I love that part of it. But I've already heard that he's gonna make some big changes to it next year to slow it down for that. It sounds like we're gonna be going back, so that's gonna be very cool to go back.
I think so too. I got to talk to Jason before the race, and I was, kind of awestruck that a promoter
Mhm.
would change the schedule solely to make sure that the riders racing didn't have to waste a $10,000 motor in the mud.
Yeah, it's for him to do that and like it wasn't if you think about it, he lost money doing that on his end because of viewership for the people there that didn't come in. We had handed out flyers through Panama City before the race for Saturday. All those flyers were burnt. Just you might as well just burn that money. But that's one thing with Jason. Like he raised a really good purse for us, and he wanted us to earn that in on a good race day. And he didn't care if he lost some money to provide us with a good day of racing. And to me, that's the guy you want holding your events. Like it just kind of selfless act to lose his money, but to make sure we got ours on a really good racetrack. And didn't just force the subject of like, no, we got a race Saturday. I got all that stuff out there, the flyers, I got this guy coming in with the food trucks, they're not going to make it. Probably people that he had paid to come to vend the event, and he just ate that. So the dude is very, very great guy. Obviously good racetrack holder.
Yeah, top notch. I mean, I don't know of any of maybe Jeremy Osborne would have done something like that. Out of all the
Yeah.
promoters that I've talked to or seen, those are the two guys that are far and above the best.
Yeah, I could see Jeremy doing the same thing. He knows what a mud race with the quads is, and especially with the Triple Crown, it's like how many guys out there are going to afford to if you blew up two motors for that day, like that's 20 grand. That's not normal in our sport right now for them guys just to be dropping two motors. Like that's not going to help us. That's going to eliminate that guy maybe for the next round because he can't go. You don't have a motor.
Exactly. So him doing that actually was a huge help.
Yeah,
Um, as we wind things down here, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time. This has been a long
absolutely.
time coming. You're a busy guy, and I understand that, and I appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely.
Last year, you did something that had never been done in our industry. You went undefeated. I saw some of your posts. I read a few things. I listened to a couple things. Um, the emotion when you came off the track on that last moto, what went through your mind, as you were rolling up to the guys at the end of the day? Are you ready to be captivated by one of nature's masterpieces? Discover the breathtaking beauty of Antelope Slot Canyon, a natural wonder in Page, Arizona. Join us on a guided tour and immerse yourself in the mystical light beams, rich colors, and serene landscapes. With tours at prime sunbeam hours, experience photographer's paradise and capture memories that will last a lifetime. Comfortable shoes, a camera, and a smile are all you need for this adventure. Book your journey today at Antelope Slot Canyon Tours and let the canyon enchant you. Please visit us now, antelopeslotcanyon.com, for more details.
I think what I thought when I got done, as soon as I got done with the race and I did my burnout, uh, I was super hyped at that point. And I ride up to the podium, and as soon as I get to the podium, it was just like huge weight lifted off my shoulders. Um, like I carried a lot of stress all season long because maybe not all season, but like Ironman and on, because of the position I was in, and to maybe do that, like the way I was racing and the way I felt, and I felt like maybe it could be something that could be done. So I carried all this stress in my neck and my shoulders all year long. It felt like I was having neck problems. Like it just, I was super tense, and as soon as I got up there, like I just relaxed and I just just was a feeling of pure happiness. Like, okay, I have nothing to stress about now. I'm done with that. I just did what I wanted to do. That was the goal. We accomplished it. I just I started to get emotional because I just was like, thank God I did that, but thank God it's over. Like that was really mentally stressful for the last three rounds, like of no other. Uh, like Briarcliff in particular, Moto One, I tweaked my ankle really bad, and like I go back, I won the race barely. It felt like, but I go back to the trailer, and I go back to the trailer, and I'm crying because my ankle hurts so bad. But I was like, I'm done. Like that's it. And my dad was like, no, 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 you're fine. We're gonna tape it up and you're gonna race. And I was like, no, my ankle's broke. I can't even step on it. And I couldn't. Um, but I had the ladies at the JB tent wrap me up real tight, put some pressure on it, put my boot on, and I just sat there for a while and go out, get a decent hole shot, battle with Bryce, won the moto, and that was another one that was really stressful. Um, and so just all that was building up, and then when it was over, it was like, wow, thank goodness thank goodness I'm done, like I said. But like the biggest thing was like that was incredible to me. I just won all them races, like I was pretty emotional, very very happy.
Do you think that starting off the year as well as you have this year, that any of that will start to come back as this year progresses if you keep winning races?
Uh, right now, no, I don't feel like that right now. And like I feel like I'm in the same position, like as far as riding abilities and fitness wise, like I'm right there. Like that, it could be done. Yes, it very well could be. But I'm not. I feel like since I've done it now, I won't stress about doing it again because the end goal really is to win the championship. But I'm going to try to win like every race. Obviously, I go out for. That's any racer, but that's me right now. And with my team and abilities, like that's what I want to do. I just want to win the races. And if it happens again, that'd be very cool. But that's not what I'm in for right now. Like I'm in for the championships, trying to get 10 of them. That's what I want to do.
That's your goal.
Yeah, 10 of them.
That's freaking pretty awesome. I was going to add that was my next question, and you just answered it. So that's pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
so the fire still burns within Joel Hetrick. If you're still young enough and you
hmm
got your 10, do you think you'd continue or you would retire because you reached your goal?
I would probably retire. I'd
Yeah.
probably retire and take my kids racing. If I get 10, what's that put me at? I mean, it just depends if every year goes great. Um, but yeah, like I'd be 30, at least 35, 36 by then. Or no, at least 36 by then, 37. So, like I could race after that if I'm in good like health condition. Um, but it's just, racing and training and doing all that like takes a toll on the body. Like I have a bad knee that I've never got fixed. So it's just I would have to really see, like I've been wanting to get my knee fixed for a long time. So if it bothers me in the upcoming years, like I'll have to get it fixed, and that I don't know how that'll go after that. So it's just as long as I stay healthy, I'm racing though.
Look at the history of ATV champions. Gary Denton was 38 years old when he retired. Bo Barron's still racing. He's won 12 titles on the West Coast, and he's still racing. He's in his mid 40s. Doug Eichner retired, at 49.
Wow.
It- you
Yeah,
know,
I mean, if that's the case, with me too, and I'm able to do it like these guys, I'm absolutely gonna do it. But I just, I think eventually, like, I'd have to, do a different type of racing or do something different, just to at that time when I'm 38, like I'd probably be a little burnt out of just riding motocross all the time. So I think I'd probably be maybe doing some GNCCs or works or something to have a little bit more fun with it at that age. And also, if I could make a living riding at 40 years old, that's what I would want to be doing. I don't want to go to normal work. I want to race a four wheeler. Who wouldn't? So
right, right, right. Uh,
yeah, that's the
totally
goal,
agree.
man.
I totally agree. Hey, everybody, Joel Hetrick, I think that you're going to go down in the history books, if not the greatest, as one of the greatest of all time. And I'm not taking anything away from Chad Weenan or Gary Denton or any of the other greats out there. Um,
Absolutely.
this is your time, and you have some really fast guys chasing you.
hmm
And I've asked them all, what's the deal? And they go, every time we raise the bar, he raises it twice. What do you want us to do?
Right. Yeah, it feels good. And just getting smarter with age, so it helps the machine set up for sure, and obviously helps me make moves in the right direction. And I think like they said, if they're raising the bar, then I'm a step ahead of that. So if I keep doing that, like I said, I don't really want to stop racing four wheelers like that. The end goal is to race until you can't. Um, so just keep putting myself in good positions and have, as long as I'm having fun and in a good spot, I'll be there at the track for sure.
Well, last question, and then I'll let you go because I know you got things to do. What do you think about hybrids?
Um, what do you mean? Like I've rode hybrids. I've rode a CRF hybrid, a Walsh hybrid at Pondezvous. What I'll tell you anything you want to know.
You think that they should allow hybrids into the pro class?
Uh, I mean they could, but I don't think it's going to do anything different, in my opinion. If you put hybrids in there, you're I don't think you're going to see an increase in riders. Uh, maybe you get one or two, but if I would say let's let hybrids in there. If you got 10 guys waiting at the freaking gate saying, "Hey, we'll race pro class, but we only have these machines." Okay, absolutely. But there's not 10 guys waiting at the gates trying to race pro class. There's no one. And that I think that has said I'm not racing pro unless you do hybrids. Except me, a couple of years ago when I raced a Honda and we wanted to go to hybrids and we got snubbed down for that. At the time, I was on the hybrid bandwagon. Like, give me this hybrid Honda, whatever, CRF. But like you can put any. I won't switch my quad. I'll ride my quad as it is, and it's gonna be my favorite quad. Like, I don't think if you put a Yamaha dirt bike motor in my chassis, I wouldn't think it would be any better. Maybe just you could probably get more power out of it. But like I said, you get so much power out of it, you're not gonna be able to ride it. And unless it's like absurdly lighter, then it's probably not gonna be that much better anyway. Um, that's my opinion. But
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to share us with your family and friends. The podcast is available on all streaming platforms, and you can find us on social media as ATV Talk Podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter